Hi, welcome to episode 10 of the PassioKnit Spinner podcast. My name is Tracy. You can find me as Schnüffeltier on Ravelry and Instagram. Here it is. Also, I do have opened a Ravelry group for the podcast. You can find it at the PassioKnit Spinner podcast. And there's a blog where all the show notes can be found, if I find the time to do them. If not, it says in the post. And thank you so much for being here. I know that there are a ton of podcasts out there and there are several you could watch, so I'm very flattered that you're here with me. So, I have been sick all week, so I don't have a lot to show you when it comes to knitting, but I did spin a lot. So, let's jump right in. What I'm wearing today is a sweater that I did not knit myself. I got it at Coats, which is big yarn company from Germany, and they do have a fabric store. No, not fabric. They do have a shop at their where their industry is at their, I don't know how to say it. I don't know. But I got that sweater. It's a hand knit sweater. It has a nice pattern down here, and I'm gonna stand up so I can show it to you. As you can see, it does fit great, even now with the belly, and I just had to have it. It fit, it looked great, and they had a moving sale, so I think I paid 20 euros for this. Like I said before, it's a hand knit sweater, you can see that, so that was a great deal. Now, knitting in the past, there's nothing to show. I didn't finish anything this week, and I doubt that I will finish something this week, so yeah, it's not going to happen. Knitting in the present, I'm working on 2 projects right now actively. I started my husband's sweater. I did show the skull that I want to knit on, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, and I'm knitting it as a top-down raglan out of the Ann Butt book, the sweaters from the top or something like that. It's all bunched up on the needle, of course, because I wanted to use my amazing Holz and Stein needles again. They are beautiful. They are olive wood. They have a wonderful grain. They are a 4.5mm needle, which is a US 7. And like I said before, it's a top-down raglan. So this is the front of the sweater. Here is the back. This is how the yarn is knitting up. And I'm working on the raglan increases right now. I have to decide when to start with the pattern for the skull, but not now. So I still have to go quite a way, quite some bit to be done. And yeah, it's just a boring gray top-down stockinette sweater right now. And I'm using the needle keeper from Frogger Designs that I showed before, so I don't lose my stitches. So needles go in here, and I just snap it closed. And here's my knitting, and there's the needles. And I just lost a stitch marker. Oh, it's this one. It's not. That's good. It's not bad. So, first work in progress. The second work in progress is the Follow Your Arrow Mystery Shawl by Isolde Teak. But I'm way behind because I'm not a mystery knit-along person. I don't enjoy that. So I started my shawl, I think 2 days ago. And tomorrow will be the release date of Clue 4. So I've only finished Clue 1, and I'm going to show it to you now because everyone else is finished. I decided on knitting Clue 1B because I like the shape of that. I think the fabric that I'm getting is great, although it won't focus so you can't see that. Oh yeah, here it is. I decided on what clues to do next. Like I said, this is 1B, and I'm gonna do 2A and 3A after that. And this is the yarn again that I'm using. It's from a German indie. It's called 100 Farbspiele, and it's a gradient. And I decided to start with the orange and go to the dark red. I'm using my Knitter's Pride Dreams needles. They're a 4mm, which is a US 6. And I really like those needles. They are not too pointy, but pointy enough to be able to knit fast. So this project is coming along nice, and I really hope that I can get into the dark red, because the pattern calls for, I think, 500 meters and something like that, and I have almost 600, so I'm not sure. Maybe I can extend it somehow to use up everything. I don't know. Oh. And that's it for knitting in the present as well. Like I said, only 2 projects. Nothing super fancy. For knitting in the future, I don't have anything, because I just want to get through the Follow Your Arrow shawl. I want to finish the baby sweater that I started and haven't worked on. So there's no knitting in the future this week. But I do have tons of spinning. Like I said before, I was sick home this week, or home sick, I don't know. And I finished quite a lot of yarn, so I'm gonna get everything out now. So, first off, I showed this a bazillion times before. I finished the Three Waters Farm Cheerful Disposition. I think I started it in the beginning of January, and I showed my bobbins and the fiber thousands of times. Now I am absolutely finished. It's done. It's washed. It's dry. It's beautiful. I applied this on the Rose bulky flyer because I wanted to have all 8 ounces in one skein, and it did work out great. So I have 753 meters, which equals 823 yards, and the skein weighs 222 grams, and it's just amazing. Here's some other colors. This skein is so colorful, I couldn't tell you what color it is. It's just everything, and amazing. I know what to knit with this. I knew while spinning that I want to do the groovy shawl out of it, because I think that's a shawl that's going to showcase the awesomeness of the yarn, and I plan on knitting that sometime soon. So another close up before we can go to the next yarn. Isn't that great? I love this. It's super pretty. It's very soft. It's a merino, superwash merino and silk blend, and it's amazing. So finished, finally. After I spun this, and I would say it's about a light fingering to a fingering weight, I needed a palette cleanser. I needed something to be done with very quick, so I spun this one. It's a gradient, or self-striping center pull roving. It's from, the fiber came from Hanks in the Hood. The shop of Hanks in the Hood is on Etsy. This is 100% merino. It's called Sam Crow. I did do singles, as you can see, but I'm not really happy with them because they're still very overspun. The camera is not cooperating with me right now. Hello. Maybe it doesn't want to show how ugly this is. Oh, here we go. So as you can see here, it's very overspun, and I do have a bit more twist in it than I would love to have. But I think it's still gonna be fine. I got 307 meters, which is 335 yards, and the skein weighs 118 grams, and it's gonna go leave my house tomorrow because it's gonna be a present for someone. So after I finished this, I started spinning some roving that I got from German indies. I only know what one of the braids where it came from. It came from a shop called Adoptivwolle, and I'm gonna talk about her another day. And the other braid, I have no idea where it came from. It did not have a tag. I don't know what it was. But like I said, the one that I did know what it was is a superwash merino. And I think the other one was a merino silk blend, but I just really don't know. I did a combo spin of those two skeins, or two braids of fiber. I think the yarn turned out great. Blue is not really my color, but I do like how this one turned out. The braid that had a tag was called Juwelentraum, which basically means like dreaming of jewels, and I think that's a great name. So those two skeins were both spun and plied on my Bliss spinning wheel. I got 377 meters, which is 412 yards, and they weigh 201 grams. So this will make a nice big shawl. I think about the Quaker yarn stretcher. I knit that one before for a swap, and I think it would make a nice and big scarf-like shawl. So that's not all. I've got one more skein. I spun up this one. It's a Corriedale. It's a traditional 3-ply. The fiber that I used came from Elle Hogan. She's an Irish dyer, and it's called An Ode to France. I got 112 meters, which is 122 yards and 106 grams. And I'm not sure if you can see the 3 individual plies in this. I'm gonna try to show you in a spot where you really can see 3 different colors. It's not that simple right now. Let's try. There you go. I spun the singles for this on my Louette S45, and I always ply on a different wheel because the Louette bobbins are very small, and they don't take more than 80 grams, which is I think about 3 ounces, and all of the fiber that I use is more than 3 ounces, so I just plied this one on the Bliss because I had the Bliss standing right in front of me. I do like it, but it's a Corriedale. Corriedale can be super soft, or it can be super not soft and itchy. This is the not soft itchy Corriedale, which is not bad. It was nice to spin, but it's nothing that I could ever wear around my neck or next to my skin. It's not gonna happen. So I decided I'm gonna knit a toy out of this to hang, not to hang, to put in the little toy hanger that I have right here, which you can't see. So this is where this is gonna go. That's all my spinning for this week. Only 6 skeins, or 5. 5. I'm sure this will stop soonish because I've I've talked about this before. I fall in love with spinning for a few weeks or a month, and then I fall in love with knitting and don't spin at all. So I'm happy that I'm spinning right now. There will be times where there will be no spinning, so it's okay. Now, on to new stuff. I did get quite a lot of things this week, so I'm gonna start with the one thing that I ordered, I think in November. It's a skein of yarn from Caterpillar Green Yarns. No. And it is one of her shawl self-striping yarns. She did do pre-orders for this. I'm going to show you this side because I think you can see the colors there. It's, like I said before, it's a self-striping shawl yarn, and it's always one stripe of the gray and then a colored stripe. And the colored stripes are gradiating in like a muted rainbow. The colorway is called Concrete and Tulips. If I'm going to show you the side, you can't really see the orange and reds that are gonna come out of the skein sometimes. If you see. The Yarn Harlot did knit a shawl out of this, and it looked amazing. So this is 6 ounces, 170 grams, 599 meters, which is 655 yards. And like I said, it's a shawl self-striping yarn. It's a merino. It's a 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon blend. I look very forward to knitting this because I think it's going to be a shawl that I can wear with almost everything in my wardrobe. I just have to start at the right end. So, Caterpillar Green Yarns. I'm very glad that I got that one. The next thing that I got is 3 skeins of sock yarn from a German indie dyer called Frau Oder Socke. Her shop is on Davanda. And I got 3 of those speckled dyed yarns. This one is the blue one. It's white with teals and blues. Maybe this side. Yeah. Here you can see more of the color. I got one in green because green is my favorite color. On the other side. And the third one is oranges and browns because I love browns and oranges as well. So I had to have that one for myself. I think I'm gonna knit socks out of all of those. And the first one with the blue is gonna go on my husband's feet because he loves everything that I knit for him. And he doesn't care about the color, but he loves blue, so that just makes sense. So here they are all together. I'm gonna try to show you. They really are very, very pretty. And they're super reasonable. So if you're in Germany, I highly recommend you check her out because her yarn is not only pretty, it's also very, very affordable. So 3 skeins from Frau Oder Socke, and my chair is driving me crazy today. So, and I have one last skein of yarn to show that I did not order or buy. I got it as a gift because my husband was in America again for work, and he was in San Francisco, and he went to Imagine-Knit, which is the yarn store that we always go to when we are there together. And he decided to pay them a visit and get a skein of yarn for me as a souvenir. And he got me this skein of yarn. It's Madeline Tosh sock in the Ginseng colorway. kind of weird. I'm not sure yet what to do with this because Madeline Tosh sock is 100% merino superwash, and I really like to have a nylon content for my socks, so I'm most likely not gonna knit socks out of this. But I think I might do a Wurm hat, which I've done out of fingering twice before, but I think this will make a gorgeous hat for my husband. So those are the colors. They are very nice. My camera just went dark. I don't know why. I hope you still can see me. So, the other stuff that I got this week are a few books. And I'm over the top happy with those books. I'm going to show you the last thing that I got first. It's the PassioKnit Socks, Volume 2. Rachel Coopy does amazing socks. She's a designer and she does primarily socks, but also some small accessories like hats and shawls and stuff. And I really, really, really love this. I'm gonna show you the content page because I think it's amazing that I can show you this. There are amazing socks in this book. I think it's 12 patterns or something like that. Yeah. I want to knit not all of them because I don't like lacy socks, but I would say I'm gonna knit at least 5 or 6 of those patterns because they are amazing. So I highly recommend PassioKnit Socks Volume 2. I also can recommend the Socks Volume 1 and the Toasty because I have those as well and I'm in love with them. So now on to my favorite books that I've gotten from a self-publishing person ever. They're called Legendary Knits. They are from Anne. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna try. I'm gonna show you. Like I said, Legendary Knits. This is Volume 1. I do have Volume 2. And Volume 3. I got those in the mail this week. As you can see, I marked quite a lot of stuff in those that I absolutely want to knit. And I think the first thing that I will cast on is actually a men's sweater that I'm gonna knit for myself. It's called the Woodsman sweater. I have no idea if this is focusing or not because I can't see anything. It's a nice textured pattern. I'm gonna try. Maybe this picture is better. Yeah, that's a perfect picture. There you can see the pattern or the texture pattern of the sweater. And I'm gonna knit this out of the sweater yarn that I showed in my, I think, second episode, out of the Collinet fiber that I just spun up. It's an Aran weight. The pattern calls for worsted. I'm just gonna do a swatch and maybe go down 1 or 2 sizes of the garment to get a perfectly fitting sweater for myself. I told you before I'm not going to do real reviews of books, but I just have to show you some of the patterns in this. I'm just going to show you what I marked for myself. This sweater here on the cover is called Rapunzel sweater. It has nice cabling details and I marked this one. I totally want to have it. It's a gorgeous sweater. Now in the second book, I marked the Artemis sweater, which is the cover sweater again. I'll show you this. It has a nice cable detail again and the shawl collar. And the other thing that I marked, I'm not sure if I ever will attempt really to knit this, is the Snow Queen jacket or coat. It's a beautiful, very long cardigan. I'm gonna try to show you the, here you can see some of the patterning detail that runs around. It's gorgeous. On the back you can see it's just a plain back stockinette. It's beautiful. Now onto Legendary Knits Volume 3. It's the last book in the installment so far. It just came out 2 or 3 weeks ago. And the first thing that I marked is the Boudica cardigan. It looks like this on the front. And the back has a nice cable. Isn't that great? I really do like it when sweaters have different fronts and backs. The next thing that I marked is another sweater. It's called Little Mermaid sweater, and its front and backs are the same, so I'm just going to show you this one pattern picture. And the next thing is a hat. I think you can see it best in this picture. It has a nice twisted stitch cable pattern. And the last thing that I marked is a vest. It's the cover vest. I'm gonna show you the cover again. It is amazing. I have to say, I have never ever gotten books in the mail where I was so excited about all of the projects that are in this, because I mean it's 3 little books and I tagged I think 12 things, and that doesn't happen normally to me. I mean I love stuff and I want to knit things out of my magazines and the books that I get, but I flipped through those and every pattern I saw I said, whoa, that's amazing. It's I just couldn't stop being excited about it. So I just want to show it to you. Go out, check her out. You can get the books through Ravelry. You can buy the patterns individual on Ravelry. And if you are like me in the EU, you do have a little bit of a problem, but Anne is super nice and she'll make it work. So I highly, highly, highly recommend those books. They are gorgeous. So that's all that I got in the mail this week. So let's jump to my indie of the week. I do have an indie of the week this week, and it's the dyer from the Corriedale yarn that I showed. Like I told you, she's from Ireland. Her shop is called L. Hogan, and I'm gonna show you some more of her stuff. I did get the fiber that I show, or not the fiber, the yarn that I spun from her fiber through her Etsy shop, which has not been updated in forever. And I really don't know if she stopped dyeing or not, because I couldn't find any information on this. But I decided to talk about her anyways, because even if she stopped dyeing, you can get her stuff on D-Stash on Ravelry. So this is a yarn that I spun out of another club colorway. It was the Valentine's Club colorway, and it was, I think, a BFL. And I did knit something out of this, and I brought it as well. I knit this hat, which is a pattern that I designed myself, and I've never written it down. I just used another hand spun with it, and yeah. This fiber was super nice to spin up. It's very, very soft. Even in the hat, it's just heavenly soft. I love this. I really hope she's not out of business. The other yarn that I'm going to show is a skein of hand dyed that I got. It's I think it's a sport weight. Yes. That's a sport weight. It's a more pinkish purple than it's showing up here, if it is showing up sometime. Like I said, it's more pink than this, but it's a nice purple. This is her logo. That's on the yarn. And there is also her Etsy shop address, which, like I said, I'm not going to try to have it focus because I'm not sure if she's dyeing anymore. This is the information that's on the label. Just tells you what needle size to use and you know, general information that should be on a yarn ball band. I got this skein of yarn at a yarn store in Dublin. It's called This Is Knit. It's in the Powerscourt Townhouse Centre, so if you're ever in Dublin and want to check it out, you should, because they have amazing stuff. They do have a lot of indie dyed yarns from Ireland. They have like I showed you, the L. Hogan yarn. They do have hedgehog fibers, because she's based in Ireland as well. They do have yarns by the Dublin Dye Company, and it's just overall an amazing shop. So this is the yarn that I got from L. Hogan in the This Is Knit yarn store. So, indie of the week, finally. Now on to everything else. I just have two small things to talk about, or two, you know, not super time consuming things. I did sew this week, and I started making quilt tops, because here in my yarn, or in my craft room, I have two windows, and the window sills are really big, so the cats love to sit on them. And because I want to try out quilting and patchwork and everything that goes with it, I decided to sew some small quilts to go on the windowsills. So this is the first thing that I worked on. It's an applique kitty and just some patchwork to go with it. It's not done because it's not long enough yet, but this is the first thing. And the other thing is done so far. It has the kitty on the other side. Like I said before, I applique this with my amazing knitting sewing machine, and then just did the patchwork. And I really hope it's in frame, because I can't see anything right now. So yeah, I just used up some scraps. I didn't pay attention if they go together or not. I just took them out of my scrap bin and started seaming them up. And I think this is my favorite part. It's just really scraps that were different size, because that's why it's not, you know, lining up. But I don't care. I think it's the charm of it. I like it. So that's my sewing for the week. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is the book that I read. I showed this book to you, I think 2 weeks ago, maybe 3. It still is called Im Herzen die Rache. It's by Elizabeth Miles. The English title is Fury. It's the first book in the Fury trilogy, and I finished this. I'm not quite sure if I liked it or not. Well, it was an enjoyable read, but I'm not sure if I like the story itself. So I started the second book. It's called Im Herzen der Zorn. Looks like this in the German version. And I do love those covers. I'm gonna tell you the English title. The English title is Envy. And I'm this far into the book. It's getting better, but I'm still not totally hooked on it. So I hope it will be a good trilogy in the end, with a, you know, not so good first part, a better second part, and I hope that the third book will be perfect to equal out what I didn't like so far. So that is all for this week. I don't have anything else to show or talk about. I think it's my longest podcast ever, and I didn't really have knitting, so that's weird. But yeah, I'll let you all go. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful week. Enjoy what you're doing, and I'll talk to you again next Sunday. Bye.